If you don't hear it right away, on to the next one, like next.
Yeah.
Which is fine, streaming, you can go down a rabbit hole and check out all kind of random stuff forever. So,
do you know who would be the top 3 producers that you would want to work with or watch work?
Pete Rock.
Mm-hmm.
If Dilla was alive, then Jay Dilla.
Mm-hmm.
We put like an asterisk to that since he's no longer with us. But
it don't matter,
that and Q-Tip.
Q-Tip, really? I didn't expect Q-Tip. Why Q-Tip? Yeah. Explain that.
Think about it. Q-Tip, one, produced all the Tribe albums.
True.
Right?
True.
Mobb Deep, the infamous, Q-Tip helped them produce that album.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. I did not know that.
Yeah, because if you remember, he's on one of them songs, and it seemed kind of weird. They were like, why Q-Tip on this joint?
Yeah.
Because come to find out, he was helping them out in the studio. He's like, oh, yeah, I'm around. Let me help you get your drums right, and blah, blah, blah. Doggone Q-Tip, man. I mean, and if you listen to what he's done over the years, still ridiculous. He hasn't missed a step. Some people as time goes on, kind of start wavering a bit. Nah. And he done even crazier stuff. I mean, he's working with Elton John and all these other.
He's working with Elton John too?
Yeah.
I didn't know that either, man.
Tip, man. Tip is the dude.
Damn it, man. Elton John? That's big time right there.
Yeah, and that's just one of many. So, yeah, those 3, I'll be straight.
So, the Q-Tip, Dilla, and Pete Rock.
Yep.
Why Pete Rock?
Pete Rock is probably the sound I've chased my whole life.
Really?
Yeah, Pete Rock. If you think like #1 Soul Brother and everything else, like the smooth joints that I like to do are based off Pete Rock.
Okay.
So like the way he chops samples, the bass lines he puts over everything. And it's not like, even similar to Dilla, a lot of arrangements aren't crazy, but it's just enough in there and it's played with certain swing that is undeniable, that you can hear them. Like you can listen to a Pete Rock loop where it's made 2 bars for 4 minutes and not be like, man, this is boring. There's some skill in that, and just to be able to do that with samples or without, can't beat them, man.
Word. Welcome to the party, man.
So,
what up, bro? What's going on, fellas?
Can you hear me? How you doing, my guy?
Yep.
I'm good, man. Just had a long day. Kind of overslept and shit.
Yep.
Hey.
Should happen.
I understand that.
Yeah, man. Just doing that adult shit.
Yeah. It's part of his life.
Absolutely.
I was just talking to Asia Smith about top 3 producers that who would you want to be in a room with and watch them work or learn from? Do you have 3?
Dilla would be my first. I would want to sit and study Dilla because his unorthodox method of sampling arrangement and drum patterns. High Tech would be my number 2. And my third one will most likely probably be Eric Sermon.
Eric Sermon?
Yeah. Eric Sermon was pretty much the dude that probably had the most gravity for me when I was a shorty, as far as his beat production. You know what I'm saying? His arrangements, the way he sampled like this basic shit. He would make like straight bangers out of like the most basic shit. Most of his beats was like the soundtrack of my youth.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about with High Tech?
High Tech, his sound was so distinct when I first heard him that out of everything that was out at the time, and it was a lot of heat at the time, his was like the most unique. I remember when I first heard I heard a mixtape with some of his beats. I don't even remember whose mixtape it was, and I just kept going back to that particular song. And this was before I even realized he produced it. And the only reason why I kept going back to that song is just because the way he layered his sounds, and the shit was so crunchy and it punched hard. And then I started like just following his sound, and I realized that it was so distinct and unique for what it was. Like the shit he did with Quali, the stuff he did for G Unit. I was like, there's no fucking way this dude shouldn't be like a household name.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like when I think back, just hell, the shit he did for G Unit alone was like, it was different as fuck for their sound.
Yeah, it was.
You know, it's like out of everybody who produced for them, pretty much catered to their sound, but he made them rap to his beats.
And he worked with Dr. Dre too at one point, didn't he?
Yeah, he was part of the little beat team when they were even putting together the whole Detox shit. He was in that pool.
Yeah, he did have a very distinct sound. Usually the top producers in the industry, they have one though, right? The Neptunes, like all those guys pretty much have their own unique sound, right?
You know what though? The thing about that is, just in my years of studying, you can tell like who's influenced by who or who was tutored or I wouldn't even say tutored. Ones who just brought up under a certain sound, they all have like a distinct range. So anybody who comes from the Minnesota background of Prince, The Time, anybody who came up, I would even say like Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. In any era, you will find something similar coming from that area. Same thing when it comes to like the Philly sound. You know what I'm saying? It all go back to like Gamble and Huff.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? The Motown sound kind of still resonates with a lot of producers out of Detroit. That's why like Dilla kind of sticks out to me because he's probably the one that you can hear that influence, but he flipped that shit on his head and made it his own.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I was telling somebody that even to this day you can hear the New Jack Swing influence in Pharrell's music.
Oh yeah, that's for damn sure.
You know what I'm saying? You can hear it in Timbaland's music. It's just one of those things where it's in the DNA of the artist and where they come from.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think that's even like a real thing with like Chicago producers too. Like people don't really realize like.
I was just about to ask you that. Where would they have started with Chicago?
For Chicago, like the Cadillac music era, it's a lot of soul. That's where soul sampling really is. That's why it's so heavy and prevalent. And I would even go as far as like if you take like the heavy dark blues influences that kind of influence the drill scene. You know what I'm saying? And the overtones and shit like that. It's just one of those things like we kind of like we don't get away from it too far even if we do travel. It's like it's one of those things where it's just ingrained in us in some form or fashion. Yeah. And it kind of also, for me personally, my influences personally come from like all my life travels. Anywhere I've lived longer than fucking 3 years kind of influence my sound. If there's a sound to be had somewhere else.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
No, it makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense because wherever you are, you start to pick up what's the vibe or the energy that you're around at the time, and then you just take it and add it to what you already have going on.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because I know when I was in Memphis and a little bit of time I was out in Florida and then going over to the West Coast, you kind of just start to pick up certain things. Not necessarily for me, because I don't do no beats. But for me, it was kind of like the way they may put words together or the actual slang that they would use. You know what I mean? You just pick that up and you just mesh it with what you already have.
Yep.
So I was also asking him about projects. He said that he could put out a couple more for the year. What about yourself?
With the whole mixing and arranging, I probably have 4 complete
Okay.
that I consider to be complete, but I'm always tinkering, and I got a bad habit of doing that, where it's like I go back and listen, I'm like, damn, that just don't sound right. Let me go back and change this, or this just don't sound cohesive enough. Let me add something to this. So I got probably 4 that I'm sitting on that could probably go just on a personal level, and it really it's like 2 LPs and 2 EPs,
Okay.
and then we got the joints that you and I worked on. That the more I listen to it, it's like it sounds like there's so much more that could be done to it, but that's just because I'm listening to it from a personal aspect as opposed to just stepping outside of that and just having a business ear about it.
Mm-hmm.
I try not to have too much of a business ear about it, because then that makes me really criticize it. You know what I'm saying? Instead of letting the music kind of like just sit in its own pocket, I'm trying to find ways to kind of like really just make it stand out.
Yeah, but there's nothing wrong with that to me. If there's something you ever want to share, I'm always open to ideas
Absolutely.
or criticism. So that's never been a problem.
Right.
For both of you guys, is there a top 3 rapper or MC that you would like to work with?
Hmm.
It doesn't even have to be mainstream. It could be whoever.
Mm.
Oh man.
3.
Oh man, that's kind of heavy. Mainly because I'm not really checking for a lot of people. I'm like, there's a lot of people on my radar. You know what I'm saying? I just be listening to random stuff. I'll start off with Benny the Butcher.
Mm.
I like to work with Benny. I just like the way he approached beats. Conway is like a go-to for anybody, but Benny just seemed to me, he just, every time he get on a beat, he take off.
Yeah, for sure.
Every time.
I feel like for me, when I hear Benny, I hear like the next best thing to Jay. And that's not to disrespect or anything like that, but as far as that vein that he fits in, it's kind of like right there. But that's just me. That's what I hear.
Yeah, I could see that. I just feel like, excuse me, that for me, it's something. It just sounds like what he's doing. It's been done before, but it's never been done like he's doing it.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. And this kind of go back to a conversation we had some years ago about like niggas who be doing they tribute to shit. You know what I'm saying? Where niggas be doing that tribute rap, that tribute hip hop, where it's like, this go back to my heyday. This go back to my golden era heyday. These niggas don't do that. These niggas just do what fit them.
Yeah, they just rap. They just get on that shit.
And it just so happened the sound is reminiscent, but you listen to the content, the content is still raw and real, and it has none of that. It doesn't carry the baggage of a nigga who wish he was still there.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
It's them. Like, it's specifically them.
Right. And next MC I probably would want to work with is shit, I'm telling you, there ain't too many on my radar. It'd probably be Chica. She's dope. She's super dope in my opinion. I feel like she's probably getting buzzed for all the wrong reasons. I don't think people really respect her skill set, but they just respect the fact that she's a female artist, and they're not listening to what she's saying and looking at what she's doing and how she's putting words together. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I would like to work with her strictly for the fact that I know that there's going to be some quality music coming out of her.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I could tell her work ethic is insane. I watched her Tiny Desk joint, and she easily, probably, like, for me, like the top 3, and one would be Mac Miller and the other one would probably be Kweli, who did a Tiny Desk. My third one, I don't know, man. It's like it's a coin toss for cats on that one, man, because I feel like I rap better than most of these motherfuckers. So,
Yeah, I mean,
I'm gonna keep it a buck, man. It's like
yeah,
I feel like I hear shit people say, and I be like, that's cool and all, but I use that metaphor better, or I flip that entendre way
But
more
that's it.
detailed, and like I'll be like, that's cool. I'm glad you know what I'm saying, got that off, but
I listen to it.
and
I ain't gonna listen to it.
I definitely don't want to like fall into my default MC bag where I'm just calling out all the usual suspects because it ain't even a matter of me wanting to work with them, but I know it'd be a good look. Like Royce would probably be an easy one to name.
right.
You
I
know what
feel
I'm
like you would
saying?
just
Crooked
go in
Eye.
and go off anyway.
And yeah, but I'm like let me think. It'll probably be Elzai would probably be my third one.
Okay.
Yeah. Strictly because he been like missing in action and I would love to see what he cooking up.
Yeah, she got a new one dropping Friday though,
Right.
so we'll see what come up with.
Absolutely.
Agent Smith, you got 3.
One, let's see, novelist from Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, video games, anime stuff. I mean, that's just a no-brainer. Like
Right. Right.
much of that stuff I watch and games I play, like. So
It
yeah,
fit perfect.
yeah. So I was like, come on. So at some point, definitely have to do that. And he's nice on the mic, so that helps out a lot too. After that, let's see. Who else? Rhapsody at some point. I think I could get a.
Yeah.
I mean, she got like 1,500 producers over there, but
Right.
right. So kind of like breakthrough would be a little rough, but I think I could come up with something decent with Rhapsody. And third, Pharaoh Monch.
Okay.
Interesting.
It's
Yeah.
not that interesting. It's not that interesting. I can see that. See Pharaoh Monch.
Yeah, so because I mean, Pharaoh, you don't know where Pharaoh Monch will end up taking whatever you end up
Yeah.
giving him. So yeah,
Exactly. Yeah, his imagination is.
I could definitely see that. Wide variety of range when it comes to Pharaoh Monch.
Yep.
Start one way and then it could heat up very fast.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
so some point, all feasible.
Yeah.
But
You all right over there? Yeah.
Yep.
All right, I'm gonna take me a drink of water real quick.
Word.
Question to y'all: did y'all pay attention to this whole situation with Breonna Taylor?
Yeah.
Cops didn't get charged.
Yeah, I mean that.
I didn't hear you. What'd you say, Sticks?
Yeah, I followed it. It's my understanding they didn't charge anybody.
Yeah.
Well, nobody's going to get charged.
No one's gonna get charged. I think it's
Yeah.
Not for that directly. Somebody got charged. Somebody got charged.
One guy
for
shooting into the other house.
Yeah, but it wasn't even, so basically no one got charged really, but yeah.
It is.
Right.
But it's what I expected though. I mean, I didn't expect anything different.
Yeah.
Like,
So
why
it was
would
an indirect reaction. It was an indirect response to what people have been requesting.
Yep.
I kind of felt it was gonna go that way once.
It's one of
a settlement.
Yeah, I did too. Unfortunately. Once they kind of like put the money on the table, it kind of changes. It shifts the approach.
Yeah, once the money gets involved, you're basically co-signing that, or you're submitting to the situation and say, hey, I'll just walk away from it. I'll take the money and I'll shut up. I could be wrong. I don't necessarily know. I'm not a lawyer. But from what I was told, once they put money in front of you, the district attorney or whoever it is, they come in with the money.
They start talking that shit to you. They talk that shit to you like, it's not going to bring her back.
Yeah.
You know she's not gonna come back. You may as well get some peace of mind and
Yeah.
blah
Move
blah
on.
blah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah. But the thing about those NDAs is once you take it, that's it. And then at
right.
any point you ever say anything, they can take the money
Gone.
back. So
Mm-hmm.
God bless the family. I don't know why they did that. I'm not sure what the reason was. If it was under their own mind and influence, or if it was coaxed, if they were coaxed into doing that. But God bless that family and everything that they're going.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
It's
Yeah.
just a shitty situation, and all too often we see those not just in Kentucky but everywhere.
Everywhere, bro.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
I was
And
looking at.
it's like it's just it's an ongoing thing. It's kind of crazy though when you think about it in context to like all the work that goes into bringing us to this point since the Civil Rights Act was signed.
Yeah,
It's like every effort to kind of like undermine what that work meant has been put into place to kind of like bring us to this very moment right here. And I had this conversation with somebody, this white guy, young white guy, probably like 33 years old, who has like absolutely no point of reference, no context at all about any of it because he has no reason to.
Right.
We was talking, and I just asked him. I said, what did you learn in the month of February when you were in school?" And he said, we learned about Martin Luther King and the civil rights era, but it was like we touched on it briefly and then moved on to other things. I said, I'm not surprised by that. I told him, I said, you guys probably were taught that uh, once all that stuff was taken care of and that bill was signed, and racism pretty much just went away, huh? He said, to some extent, yeah. He said, it took me to actually become an adult to realize that all of that was bullshit. I said, yeah, by that time it's a little too late.
Right. Exactly.
I like for me, I told him straight up, I said, for me, I've been aware of this shit my whole life. I said, I've been groomed to understand and examine this shit from a real perspective. So I'm always prepared. And that's why we have this tense relationship with race right now in 2020, where we probably, why the rest of the world is looking at us like we fucking idiots. But what they don't realize is that we living on that fucking ancient Indian burial ground.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? This shit is haunted, dude. There's no good that ever comes out of this. We haven't had a moment of peace since we stepped foot on this motherfucker. So I don't expect to have one tomorrow.
no.
You know what I'm saying? It's like